You want to do John at the same time? Or
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is ADRAG Live. We're coming to you from, well, I'm in the studio here at ADRAG, and we're going to be joining our chairman, Bill Shillitoe, and some guests over in Calgary. They're actually at the Rotary International Convention, and everyone's having a great time. We just got finished with our annual meeting. Heard a lot about what's going on with Alzheimer's and dementia. Heard from a number of our partners. We're going to be joined by a few of them tonight. And we're open to your questions. We're streaming live right now over YouTube on our channel. If you have something, drop it in the chat. And if we can answer questions, we'll do that. Right now, though, let's go to Chairman Bill Shillitoe. Thank you for joining us. You've been up there for a couple days. How are things going at the Rotary International Convention?
Thank you, Chris. So good to be with you and the folks joining us by this mechanism. And so we're having a grand time here. The booth has been an excellent location. We get crowds in our booth all day long. So much interest in what we're doing. So much interest in the fact that we are a Rotary Action Group, one of 26 worldwide Rotary Action Groups. We're blessed to be a part of this great organization called Rotary International. It is wonderful to be here in Calgary, celebrating a wonderful year of Rotary in the world.
We just got finished with our annual meeting, which was fairly well attended. I think you had about 80 people there. We ultimately ended up with about 20 people online. So just about 100 people this year for the annual meeting.
Yes, the annual meeting is one of the things that we look forward to every year. This year we had to do quite a bit of the business. We got through the business aspects of this. I think it went well. We got our officers elected for 25 and 26. So we're off and running and looking forward to another great year. We highlighted some of the real watermarks that we set for the coming years. And so we're excited about what can happen with us in 25, 26.
How do you feel the meeting went overall?
The overall meeting was well attended, better than I'd hoped. So I felt very good about the outcome of the meeting. Not sure we were going to have our full slate of officers. We had a volunteer who's inspired to support this cause, stand up and ask to be the secretary of this officer group. So we're just thrilled to all that we can be.
And we heard from a few of our partners. We're going to hear from a few tonight during the podcast. And you're there, I believe, with one of them, John Kander from Music Men's Minds.
John just stepped out. He said he would look to join at 5:30 this time.
Okay, terrific. Well, we're looking forward to that as well. One of the other partners that we had that we wasn't able to attend today, but is a close partner, is the Cure Alzheimer's Fund. And just to give people a little bit of background, so they were founded in 2004, and they're founded by visionaries in business and science. And they're not a typical nonprofit. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Cure Alzheimer's Fund and how that partnership came to be?
Yes, I'll be glad to, Chris. Cure Alzheimer's Fund. They go by the shortened version of CAF. So it's shortened Alzheimer's Fund. They're started in Massachusetts by three philanthropic families. And so their promise is to their donors that 100% of the money that goes to donations will go to research in this horrible disease called Alzheimer's. They're able to do that in the terrific way because they pay the staff cost. The founders pay the staff cost, and then every dollar that's donated then can go to research. They have a unique approach. They don't ask for a grant request. They seek out promising research scientists, and they approach them with offers of donations and offers of support if they'll follow through on their research and then give the results to the world.
Yeah, we had a chance to talk with Cure Alzheimer's Fund CEO Meg Smith earlier this week,
That's right.
and and I believe we've got a clip here. Let's take a listen.
Your Alzheimer's Fund is really proud of our funding model because we partner so closely with our external scientific leadership. All of our scientific decisions are made by people who are active, leading in the field, who still run the most important labs in the United States and around the world. Those decisions are vital to making sure that our donors' resources are used to the highest possible potential so that we can accelerate an end to this disease. Your Alzheimer's Fund has benefited from the vision of its founders and board. They and certain other core donors support all of our operating expenses, which means that 100% of general public donations go to our research program. That's an extraordinary promise that we are able to live up to because of that vision. And it means that people who don't know us as well can feel 100% confident that their donations are going to support only science. On the other hand, the people who do choose to support our overhead know that it turns into a multiplier. A dollar given for overhead turns into $5 to $6 of scientific research, thanks to the power of fundraising. So it's really an extraordinary partnership and one that we have been blessed to be able to continue over our entire 21-year history. Our Alzheimer's Fund has one mission, which is to end Alzheimer's disease. We celebrate the caregiving research that's done by other organizations. We're thrilled that that's going on, but our goal is to put an end to the need for caregiving. So what we really hope that the community will do is recognize the importance of that and help us support with funding the research that's going to be necessary to end Alzheimer's disease. And it's going to take a lot. It's a very complex disease. There are so many unknowns tied to the brain as well as to the role of the body in this brain-focused disease. And so we're going to need to take a lot of shots on goal, and we need help to do that. Beyond that, we also absolutely need every citizen, particularly in the United States right now, to be advocating for science and for investment in science. We are not going to solve diseases like Alzheimer's disease without a huge investment in science and scientific infrastructure. And that's really coming under attack right now. And at the end of the day, voters are the ones who are going to decide how we spend our financial resources in the United States. If we want to continue to help both the United States and the rest of the world with diseases like Alzheimer's disease, we're absolutely going to have to continue the kind of investment we've had before. Alzheimer's disease is a worldwide problem. It's not unique to any one kind of person or any one kind of background. Unfortunately, the impact of Alzheimer's is even greater in places where there is less established public health infrastructure, but where we are seeing longer lifespans without associated gains in health spans. We want brain health to last as long as health does around the world, and we want health span to be as long as the longest lifespan. Rotary International does a phenomenal job of bringing public health benefits to every corner of the world, and that's exactly what we need for Alzheimer's disease.
Bill, Meg said there's a bit of an imbalance. I mean, obviously imbalance because in the United States we've got a lot more. We're a lot more advanced in some countries, and the healthcare and so forth is much better. One of the things we talked about in the meeting today was that up until recently, the Alzheimer Dementia Rotary Action Group could only work with countries, English-speaking countries. And now, thanks to technology, we're now including everybody. We have people from France and Germany, from all these other countries that weren't able to participate, Japan, that weren't able to participate until now. How important was that, or how impactful is it that we're now including the world, essentially, that we weren't able to in the past?
Chris, that's such a good and relevant point. Is being here in Calgary and seeing 16,000 Rotarians from all over the world, the language barriers that can exist, but start to break down quickly. The need in those countries where sometimes Alzheimer's is still seen as a stigma, or even worse than that. It is wonderful that Rotary International can continue to break those barriers down and be able to take the knowledge we learn in science, so through our research partners, that we'll be able to offer to the world it's just heartwarming to know that the language is not a barrier. Different nationalities is not a barrier. Resources is not necessarily a barrier. When we break this code and find out what causes Alzheimer's, and then we can apply a cure, it will affect the whole world, some 55 million people and the caregivers that have to take care of them. It will be a huge.
You mentioned 55 million people. Currently, 55 million people are estimated to be dealing with dementia. 60 to 80% of those are diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And they're anticipating that to triple in the next 25 years, which is why we call it the silver tsunami. I want to bring in our chairman-elect, Angela Ponte. Angela, you're there now at the Rotary International Conference as well. Welcome.
Thank you.
So
yeah, it's been so many people have come by to just like some people just come by and just sat and have plopped themselves down beside us like, I need help. It's been really remarkable. I mean, and like I said, people from all over the world, and just like Bill said, the stigma issue, some people came over from Nigeria to talk to us, also from India too as well, still saying that that's still the biggest battle they're fighting right now, is just getting people to admit that it's a disease and not just something superstitious that happened to people.
Well, we've had an arm of ADRAG in India for a little while now, and when we've had our meetings, I know a lot of the discussion has been about how they deal with things culturally there, and that the stigma, I mean, that was a really difficult thing for them to overcome, to get it out of the shadows and have people realize that this is a disease, and a lot of education had to go on there. Do we have as much need for that education in the United States, or you think that this is just something that we've got more awareness about, and our things are getting better as how we deal with it?
At the meeting, sort of like sort of the history of our Rotary Action Group, and I think initially a lot of people just felt like, well, people just get old, and this is just something that happens to people. And I think now we know that this is not something that happens to everybody, but it is something that can be, now that there are at least some initial treatments for the people with the mild form, and there is a test now. I can't tell you how many people we told that there was a blood test now that didn't know. There were U.S. people, and letting them know that. And I know there's some places there's issues about paying for the test, but there is a group that's been in New England that's called Care Access, and they're actually giving the test for free because they want to find people who can then participate in clinical trials.
That's a big innovation. Can you talk a little bit about the test and why that is so important?
Well, right now there's like a scale, and based on the scale, they're able to see whether you'd be a candidate either to be in a study or to use the existing drugs. I was actually on an email with Dr. Rudy Tanzi about 2 weeks ago, and we were discussing this, and he was just saying that, for most people, the mild form, that they start on the two FDA approved drugs right now, that it really clears the plaque from the brain, in addition to all the other things you got to do about being healthy and about staying socially, not isolated, all the other things you got to do together. But that's what's caused the disease to slow down. As Rudy likes to say, sleep is mental floss. So sort of this thing with the plaque in the brain is sort of the same thing. It's another way of flossing the plaque out of the brain. So there are, like I said, there are organizations out there that are trying to find people to be in clinical trials, and one of the ways is to offer a blood test. But the blood test they give you is not just for the p-tau, as it's called, the p-tau blood test. They also will look at other things. They'll look at your cholesterol, your kidney, heart, your salt, your sugar, all this. So they give the people a comprehensive test, but it's not something you have to pay for. In fact, they're giving people gift cards to come in and take the test.
There's a lot of great
Care Access. So it might be something that I don't know what states it's all in, but I know it's been it's been for a few years in the New England area, because one of the Rotarians that I know from Cape Cod actually worked for the company, and that was part of his job, was to get people from diverse communities to come in and get tested.
And that the group again, or it was Care Access.
Care Access. Yeah. Pardon my Boston accent.
Well, and we've got a lot of information on adrag.org, the website for our Rotary Action group. Bill, if you could talk a little bit about some of the other folks that joined us today. Debbie Hodge from Repod in the UK joined us and spoke a bit. Can you tell the audience a bit more about Repod, what they are, who they are, what they do?
Wonderful, Chris. Yes, Repod is a great resource for us. The things that I really like about is the personal touch that they bring, how connected they are to the not only the patients but the caregivers. What we're finding is that as patients enter into this drug treatment process, many times it's by infusion, and that if they're an Alzheimer's patient, they don't always understand why that needle is in their arm. So one of the things they did is develop a like sweater-like sleeve that once the injection is begun, they can slip the sweater-like sleeve over it. And so if the patient wants to pick at the infusion injection site, it doesn't disturb it. It doesn't cause problems. They've started a memory cafe where they do games, music, activities, so that the patients have a respite, but also the caregivers. While they're there, they're in a safe space, they're in a safe place, and the caregivers can let their hair down a little bit. They can relax a little bit, spend an hour or two with these folks who are entertaining them and keeping them lively, so that they also get a little bit of rest out of it as well. So the Rotarians Easing Problems of Dementia is focused on the community and the community awareness. They're a lovely group out of the UK.
And I'm going to throw this back to Angela. Angela, if we've got a lot of people who are joining us on YouTube and are going to discover this as the recording lives on for the on-demand use. Talk a little bit about us, about ADRAG, who we are, what we do.
Well, as everyone knows, first, one of the things that Bill did a great job of today is explaining what a Rotary Action Group is. And that was very helpful. But I also think that for our group, we're trying to advocate for maybe some of our club members, some of our family members, for our community members. And so by doing that, we brought in these different resource partners. As we talked about the meeting briefly today, was that the Cure Alzheimer's Fund was the first one to be with us because they were from Martha's Vineyard. So that was part of my district. But then we brought in the other resource partners because we're not scientists, we're not experts in music therapy, but we want to be able to help clubs help their members, but also to help the clubs find projects that they feel will really help the community. There were many people who came up after the meeting today saying, I want my club to be able to do a project. We're looking for ideas. We can be in the Alzheimer's Association walk, but we want to do something else, So they're looking to us to be a resource for them. So that's where I see where things are going, is that people are reaching out to us for information, but they want to, they're looking for ways for their clubs to be relevant in the community. So.
And we're doing a lot more of that this year with a lot of our fundraising initiatives. One we're going to announce here shortly that we're working on with Music Men's Minds. But we also have gone through a great transformation over the last year with our new website and new tools. We have our advocacy program. Bill, I'd love to have you tell the folks about the advocacy program.
Very good. The advocacy program is a wonderful tool for us to be able to employ new people into this effort and continue to grow this, so that we have a representative into every club, and then hopefully they have support at the district level as well. So what we ask people is become a member, raise their awareness, raise their IQ on this aspect, and what our Rotary Action Group can do to help them as Rotarians, their clubs, and then finally to district. Once you become a member, you get more comfortable. We'll provide you with the tools, including a PowerPoint presentation that you can present to your club. Once you're comfortable at that level, then we're glad to have you then begin to operate at the district level with the district leadership's positioned in this activity, so that you can generate champions and other clubs in your district and be a support to them, help them do presentations. And it's almost an exponential growth once we can develop and district ambassadors that can grow club membership and club champions for us as well.
Yeah, and just to expand on that, so the advocacy program, as Bill mentioned, has district ambassadors. These are folks that are supporting the clubs. This is so important to our organization or our action group because it actually gives us a warm body within the clubs to help spread the message, help support initiatives and local projects, as well as the overall global projects that we're working on. And if you're interested in participating, go to adrag.org and you will see under our Take Action menu item that we have a ways for you to sign up as an advocate or an ambassador. And Bill, other partners we have that we heard a little bit about today was the Alzheimer's Association. How long have we had that relationship? And I know that we've done a lot for them as Rotarians and are doing much more. Can you talk about that relationship?
Absolutely. And how that came about is that the Alzheimer's Association reached out to Rotary International. Rotary International, in turn, got the Alzheimer's Association contacts and in touch with us about 8 years ago. And then the individual we were impacting with got caught up in the COVID situation. Things were on hold for a little bit. But as we came out of the COVID situation, we began to engage really well with them, learned how to use our tools that Rotary International gives us. And one of the important tools is that connection, link with the district leaders all throughout the world, and allows us direct contact with the district leaders. The district leaders then can put us in touch with the club leaders at their approval. Many of them have given us that approval already. We began to determine that Rotarians were doing Alzheimer's Association walks that we had no visibility on because nobody was re-rolling up or reporting it. As we began to pull those clubs under us and those Rotarians that were doing the walks, we noticed that in 2022, we contributed $250,000 to Alzheimer's Association. Last year, as we continue to exercise this great gift of this contact with the district leadership, we're now at $507,000 in gross proceeds and donations to the Alzheimer's Association. They use those funds to fund helping patients, 24/7 hotline. They support many operations that support this effort, and they are the largest donor for research outside the federal government in the United States. So it's a great relationship. We're going to continue to grow. We're now number 7 on the all-time leading list of national teams in the United States. We hope to be 1 or 2 very soon.
Yeah, that's amazing. And we have the manpower for that, the person power.
Yes.
We are 1.4 million strong in Rotary. And a lot of people are very passionate about curing Alzheimer's and servicing dementia. One of the things I want to segue to our next guest. One of the things that we talk about or we typically say when we're speaking is we've got 2 types of partners, and it's I'm going to steal an analogy from a friend of mine. He says, on one hand, you have the hand of justice, and on the other hand, you have the hand of mercy. The hand of justice is like the Cure Alzheimer's Fund, the Alzheimer's Association, those who are trying to solve a problem, those who are looking for the cure. And then you have the hand of mercy, and that is dealing with the folks who are being impacted by Alzheimer's and dementia now, caring for them, giving caregivers respite. And that's a real heart of you see where the real heart of the Rotarians come out when it comes to that side of things. And we have a wonderful partner called Music Men's Minds. I want to play you a little video they sent earlier today, and then jump over them and have a little chat.
Hi, I'm Dr. Indre Viscontis. I'm a neuroscientist, and we are back again with another quick look at what we know today about how music and sound impact the human brain and body, and how we can use music to improve our health. Dementia is a growing problem globally, as more of us are living longer and experiencing memory loss, depression, and confusion. Well, it turns out that for many patients with dementia, music not only brings them back to themselves, but it also connects them once again with their loved ones, even if they failed to recognize them in the recent past. Carol Rosenstein, founder of Music Men's Minds, knows this phenomenon firsthand. After her husband's Parkinson's diagnosis, she discovered that music was the key to bringing him back to himself.
Owen would resurrect while sitting at the piano playing music. And Dr. Bronstein said, "You are witnessing the power of music changing brain chemistry."
Carol started Music Men's Minds to provide free music groups for seniors and help other patients with neurodegenerative diseases. Patients like Bill, who has found a way back to himself by singing.
The minute we walked into that place, started singing immediately. And the minute you gave him a mic, that was it.
I love it.
You could see this light glowing in him, where it was like a pride kind of thing. When I see him come out and sing a song and be back to Billy that I knew, it's like a gift from heaven.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars.
The way Bill lights up when he sings is a common but little understood phenomenon. We don't yet know why music seems to trigger this awakening of a person that was somehow dormant or lost, but we have a hunch.
With the tap of your foot.
In the later stages of dementia, brain networks begin to disconnect. Regions of activity become like islands cut off from one another. Music helps these islands reconnect and oscillate or pulse in synchrony once again, pulling the network back into a functioning whole. And the effects can last hours, even days, with patients showing improved memory and cognition when tested. But the familiarity of a remembered tune also fires up our confidence and reconnects us with others, and that feels good. We feel like ourselves again. It reliably works wonders again and again, connecting us to our lost selves and to each other.
The love in our hearts.
And just for the record, when my time comes, I'd very much like to sing Here Comes the Night with someone I love. Athena noctis, Thanks for watching, and see you next time.
Carol Rosenstein joins us now from Music Men's Minds. Carol, thank you for joining us today.
Oh my gosh, Chris, Bill, talk about an honor to be here with everybody. Hello, John Kander, my right-hand guy, joined at my hip, taking a journey that is absolutely unbelievable. We are indeed the hand of mercy. We can indeed put a smile on millions of people's hearts. We can even touch their hearts and keep them happy while you guys are looking for a cure.
Yeah,
So the partnership, Chris, is astronomical.
yeah, I have to say, Carol, I go around and speak quite a bit to different clubs, and there's a couple of videos I play, which we're going to play in a little bit here after we say hello to John. But I have to say, when John first sent me these two videos, and I played it, I couldn't hold it together that well when I was giving a presentation, and I just kept finding that there was not a dry eye in the room after they saw these videos and the experience that people go through. So talk a little bit about how Music Men's Minds. How I understand it was your husband. You realized things were going. How did you start the organization, and what motivated you to keep it going and grow it? Because it's actually become quite a large global entity now.
You know, people have knocks at their doors and really don't reach out to open them. Because I had suffered already with my husband for 10 years on the journey with Parkinson's and dementia, and then having a medication issue where we had to take him off of his life-saving med, which was dopamine, because the dopamine that the Parkinson patient takes is synthetic. And with that comes side effects. We know what happens when we take certain medications and side effects arrive. And so I would see my darling husband like a wilted flower, literally incapable of connecting with his environment unless he was playing the piano in our home. He would start out wilted over the keys. And then 10 or so minutes later, he'd be revived. He would literally, like this orchid behind me, wilted, and a drink of water brings those beautiful buds and flowers back to life. That was my Irwin. And my background is in mind-body medicine. I have a clinical eye, and I kept seeing this wilted, revived. And I said, I have to speak to our neurologist. It's driving me crazy. And I said to Jeff Bronstein, who is a world authority in Parkinson's, Jeff, what am I looking at? And I repeated my clinical findings. And in the most nonchalant way, like he asked me if I had had my Wheaties for breakfast. He said, Carol, you're watching the power of music changing brain chemistry. And I said, what? Does that mean we can get like-minded souls on this sad journey of Parkinson's and play music and get happy again? And so because of my background, I've always been a fix-it girl. And until that point, I didn't have the magic. But it was on that moment of consciousness that I said, I'm going to start a band. And I got a group of people together. There were 30 who arrived at a launch. Nobody knew one another. They were patients that had been sent from caregiver agencies, from MD, Alzheimer, dementia clinics. I mean, everybody got to hear that there was a music band going to start, and 30 souls arrived at this location. They came into the space. It was in a music school room, so there were instruments available. And in about 15 minutes, one of the strangers drifted to the Steinway piano. A few minutes later, another stranger drifted to the drum kit next to the Steinway piano. Then came my guy, and he went to pull a saxophone off of an inventory wall of instruments and sat down ready to play the saxophone. And then the cherry on the top, Sam pulled back his blazer and he pulled out a harmonica. Now, Sam was already aphasic. That means he doesn't speak. But he had his voice in his hand and he could still blow and make a sound. And within 15 or 20 minutes, these total strangers were music brothers joined at the hip to become the Fifth Dementia Band. And that is how Music Men's Mind started. And from there, PBS came and said, we've heard about the Fifth Dementia Band. Can we come in and film you? Of course, come on in. I didn't know what this was going to bring to us. It went out that night on the 7 o'clock newsreel with Nora O'Donnell on PBS, and 150 people having dinner, watching this show, this news item, called and said, where do we find the music? And in fact, Chris, one of those 150 callers was none other than Rotarian Amy Huggins from Vashon Rotary.
Yep. Yeah.
And Amy said to me, Carol, Alan and I have just watched you on television. Can we fly down and meet you? They came, we hugged. I saw Amy very busy talking to people. They left. And a couple of 3 months later, Amy called me and said, you know, can you fly up to Vashon? We're launching the Island Rockers. We're the first group, the baby group of your Fifth Dementia Band. That was how Amy introduced me to Rotary.
Yeah, and that was a great connection she made. It's still going very strong here on the island. So for those who don't know, I live in Seattle, Washington, on a little island called Vashon. And it's going really strong. They get together, and that group has just grown and grown. And if you don't mind, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring in John Kander briefly. Yes. Hey, John, Executive Director for Music Men's Minds. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. I hope you can hear over loudspeaker stuff going on, because I'm, as you can see, sitting right in front of the booth where Bill is at ADRAG.
Yeah, no, you're coming in fine.
Good.
So, John, so you came on to help Carol grow this thing, and you want to tell us a little bit about where the status now, where Music Minds Men's is, and the vision?
Sure. My wife is a psychologist, and she took a patient there, a man who had actually run the biggest music corporation in the world. And she called me and she said, you got to come and see this. This is the Fifth Dementia Band rehearsal. And I came, and the first thing I did is I wept just like everybody else. And then I met Carol and said, how can I help? And now I'm a part of it. I could not be more proud. And I thought, my second thought was, this has to go public. This has to be everywhere. And Rotary clubs are helping us do that. And we are burrowing into local governments, aging departments and parks departments and health departments, and trying to set up new groups at public senior centers as well as private senior centers, memory care centers, senior residences. We think it should be everywhere. They're always free, and everybody is always welcome to bring in their caregivers and their family members, and to make it as big a party as we can. Music is a way for some people who cannot communicate in any other way to socialize and to really go back and find out and to express who they were and who they still are. We play music that we learned when we were growing up. We play Elvis, we play the Beatles, we play Motown, we play the standards. I think that if you sing Stand By Me, it makes you a better person, no matter how old you are. And it's just the most wonderful phenomenon to bring the heart out of people and to give them a joy that lasts for a very long time. And when you do that, you're reducing the stress and depression at home, the conflict between caregiver and other family members. And all of a sudden you have a healthier community, and you're costing your community a lot less to keep track of you and to keep you healthy. And that means communities should be a part of this music program. It's a community doing well by doing good.
I want to give people
that's how we're building this out.
I want to give people a more of an insight into how music is having this impact and how this organization is having an impact. So I've got a clip here I wanna play.
And we first discovered this, he went into a very depressive state. We had friends that we knew for 40 years and you wouldn't even talk to them. And someone told us about Music Men's Minds. So I took him. The minute we walked into that place, there was a group singing. They were called the Fifth Dementia.
What a great name.
And we walked up, and he's just walking down the hall, started singing immediately. And it was like a transformation that blew me away because I didn't know he could remember any lyrics. I didn't know what he could remember, any songs. And the minute you gave him a mic, that was it.
Yeah.
What makes you happy? Does singing make you happy?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it.
you love it, huh?
When you came home, was there any change?
What changed was his personality. You could see this light glowing in him, where it was like a pride kind of thing. When I see him come out and sing a song and be back to Billy that I knew, it's like a gift from heaven.
Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I've learned that Music Men's Minds is more than just playing some songs and shaking a tambourine and shaking a shaker. Music Men's Minds is also waking up those stars in our head, waking up our hearts so that we all feel connected again. So I wrote this song for Music Men's Minds and for all the caretakers that are here today.
I thought you were gone and the music had died. I needed one more song to remember you by. When I was lost in my deepest despair, your voice sang through and I knew you were there. With the tap of your foot and the tug of your grin, the song of our love was alive again. So sing me that song, I remember the tune. I'll sing along because I love you. Sing me the song of our love so the stars up above keep on shining. Just sing me the song in your heart and the music will start to spark the love in our hearts. Do-do-do-do-do. The love in our hearts. The love in our hearts.
I love that video, both of those videos. And Carol, you've changed a lot of people's lives. You've touched their lives. I love the fact that in that one first video, she says, "When I see you again." And for those of us who have gone through or dealt with dementia, knows what she means when she says that. And a lot of people don't realize that it's not just the person who's experiencing the illness, but the impact it has on caregivers, on their families. All of a sudden, it changes lives. And Bill, I've got you on. Talk a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind. Just sort of that the caregiver side of things and the impact it does have on people when loved ones, come down with or are affected by dementia.
Chris, is such a devastating effect on a family, especially initially when families have experienced this for the first time. The Alzheimer's Association has a great 24/7 hotline for them to be able to connect, find out the resources in their local area. But the impact is huge. We know that the duties fall mostly on the women of the family. We know that the caregivers are usually 2 or 3 people, that it takes almost a full-time job for them. Unpaid workers that are losing productive time other places. We also know that if a person tries to do it by themselves, they're going to end up hurting themselves. So a good friend of mine has a saying that says, you don't have to have Alzheimer's to die from it. It struck me as such a wise saying, so that if you're in this situation, please don't try to carry this burden by yourself. Seek help. Seek the Music Men's Minds group. Seek some respite. Get hospice involved in helping you, even if they only take your loved one for a day or two, so that you can get some rest and take care of yourself. Bring your family members and other loved ones in to help you in this journey.
John, how do people get involved with Music Men's Minds?
Well, the first easy thing to do is to go to our website, musicmensminds.org. There's a lot of opportunity to get in touch with us and to see other videos and other aspects of what we're doing, and also to find a group near you. We have about 14 groups in Los Angeles. We're in about 6 states, and I include Northern California as a separate state. And then we're in about 10 countries, and we're growing. Thank you, Rotary, for people interested. For example, in New Jersey, we have, sorry for that background, we have a lot of Rotary people who have started drum circles in their area. And we're trying to connect them with the local governments now so they can get public. Because one of the things we want to do is we want to go to places that nobody has historically given much care to. The lands that time forgot. And this is so beautiful and so inexpensive to do and so community active that this is a perfect thing to take all over cities and all over counties where people need to get together a lot more strongly than they do now. But start with going to our website. You'll find phone numbers to call as well. My email is john@musicmensminds.org. Carol's info@musicmensminds.org. And somebody will get back to you very, very quickly.
Well, you're great partners with Alzheimer's Dementia Rotary Action Group, and we are looking forward to working with you on some fundraising initiatives to help Music Men's Minds grow. And Carol, thank you so much for doing this. You have something you wanted to say?
Yes, I would like to say that we Zoom globally Monday, Wednesday, Friday with a board-certified music therapist. So this is for people that are homebound, and together with a family member or their caregiver can Zoom in and participate in socialization and music on Zoom, which is amazing. We have people globally Zooming in. This is Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11:30 to 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. And our Fifth Dementia band at their weekly rehearsal, which is a 3-ring circus today, we are live streamed. So regardless of where you are in the world, you can pick up music right from your comfort of your home.
We're going to make sure, well, they can find out about that on the Music Men's Minds website, but we're going to make sure that we promote that as well on the ADRAG site. Carol, but this is going also beyond healing dementia or working with dementia. You're applying this to world peace. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. And it really doesn't have to go, to world peace overnight. But we are now looking at spreading the pixie dust, pardon for me, diminutizing all of the research terms. I'm calling the goodies pixie dust. If the pixie dust for 10 years has been good for our seniors, caregivers, and families, let's go ahead now that we know so much more about music as medicine. Let's open up and invite the families to come together and make music together in a socialization setting. Now, when we're talking about pixie dust, that means that the senior with a diagnosis is going to be even more joyful because the whole clan is around them. And then when we're talking music as medicine, we know that music is magic because it goes directly to the heart of the matter. What is there in our hearts? That's where compassion lives. That's where empathy lives. That's where we start to want to listen with an open heart to those around us. And when that happens, we're going to be able to bring some healing to even fractured families where Auntie Mame and Uncle Bill can't sit at the table talking to one another. And the stress level at a holiday time was, oh my God, what are we going to do? They're coming to the house together. Turn the tide and let's sing songs at the table and go to the heart of the matter and let there be personal healings going on. And we believe, because music is used for conflict resolution, and that's a big topic because David Lamotte, the keynote speaker to the entire Rotary convention, spoke about music for conflict resolution, but it starts in the home. And so by opening up our in-person music groups to intergenerational, we're going to be feeding information about personal ways for you to settle home matters, community matters. And we're indeed looking at a prevention program that Rotary is not looking at. We are going to take the pixie dust of music for conflict resolution into homes so that the young ones can be trained to be peace brokers for tomorrow.
How are you doing this?
Well, currently are looking at a very big program called Music for Conflict Resolution, working with Tommy Sands of Ireland, who is known for 25 or 30 years working with music for conflict resolution. He is our global ambassador today. And we are now in progress. In fact, we have another meeting in an hour. We're developing a 10-week academic program for UCLA for credit. And that hardcore music for conflict resolution, I plan on diluting all of that stuff and creating for ADRAG a monthly newsletter that will inform in infographics kids that are hardly reading information about the pixie dust of music and why it makes them happy, to those who are older, getting information about music and the pixie dust, even for conflict resolution, and all the way up to the seniors in the home. And we have a podcast series already, Music is Medicine, Ask the Experts. And so the monthly newsletter that I see very clearly that is about to be created in our website, that's going out to everybody in the ADRAG music world. And we will continue to build a prevention program for conflict resolution using music and keeping the whole family happy in company making music. So I think we've got a huge program, and thanks to you and your partnership, we are going to make inroads together. Dream about.
Well, we really cherish you as a partner. We love what you do and are definitely looking forward to growing this partnership and helping Music Men's Minds to grow along with all our other partners. We're getting short on time. Chairman Bill Shillito, any last words you want to pass along before we have to head out of here?
I'm so thankful that the connection between Rotary and Music Men's Minds happened. It's been such a joyous combination. They add so much to our Rotary Action Group. We're so thankful for Carol and for John and all the other folks who are working so hard on this. We cherish that relationship.
John, you and I are talking. We're planning on launching an initiative here shortly. So we're just kind of teasing people to let them know that we're going to be working with our Rotary clubs and districts around the country on a great fundraising initiative. Lots of fun, but very impactful as we support the growth of Music Men's Minds. So, folks, we are going to have to call it a night here shortly, but do want to let you know, go to our website, adrag.org. We have a great advocacy program. Would like to have more people join us on that. Become part of that and join a global network of passionate Rotarians fighting Alzheimer's and supporting those who are dealing with dementia. And we have some great fundraising capabilities for clubs that you really need to check out. One is the Impact Marketplace. So remember that the Impact Marketplace, you're going to see a lot more, hear a lot more about it. It's a way to turn your everyday purchases into fundraising. And so we'll talk about that a little bit more in one of the next podcasts we do. We're going to have something dedicated to that. But anyway, Carol Rosenstein, thank you. John Kander, thank you so much. It's been great on our very first podcast voyage here. Looking for many more to come. And Chairman Bill, thank you very much. And you all have a great time at the Rotary Convention in Calgary there.
Thank you, Chris, very much.
Chris. Thank you, Carol.
I'm looking forward
Thank you,
to our
Tom.
association.
Let's ADRAG.
All right, all. Have a good night.
Just to let you know, in serious.